going on, guys? Okay, so today I got a lot of questions about the Home Care Kickstarter, and I wanted to go over some of the features, some of the things that you get in that program, and answer any questions that you might have. I know I said I was going to come back up here and talk to you guys also about is there good money in the business, but uh, this keeps coming up, so I just want to address it so that you guys are clear on what is included in the home care Kickstarter program. So first, for those of you who are joining me live for the first time, hi, my name is Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, making sure you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace, and our marketplace that has birthed um, six-figure home care business owners, seven-figure home care business owners, eight-figure home care business owners. Is is home care, the home care market, right? And if you are a home care business owner, I want to shout you out. Let me know where you're watching me from. What state are you in? So first, tell me what state are you in. And then if you give me the number one, let me know if you're an aspiring home care business owner. If you give me a number two, let me know if you are an emerging home care business owner. Thank you so much. So I'm on here kind of late because one of my mentees, um, uh, we were on Zoom for almost 3 hours. He had a lot of questions to ask, and he's in my home care licensing program, so I wanted to make sure he was all set for the month of August, which starts tomorrow. Hey, Samantha, how are you? So first, since you put that you are an aspiring home care business owner, please do ask me any questions you may have, as tonight, for this little bit of time that we are together, I want to go through what's included in my home care Kickstarter program, because a lot of people seem to not to be not clear on what the program includes. Oh, right. Gotcha. Okay, so first, who has heard of the home care Kickstarter program? Because we have our next one starts in September and is the last one of the year. Who has, if you've heard of the home care Kickstarter program that we have for people who are licensed or in their first year of business, give me a why. Yes, I've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, give me a N because you haven't heard of it. N for no. Y for yes, N for no. Y for yes, N for no. I'm wondering if it's kind of late for you guys. That's okay. I want to get through this really quick. I promise you. I promise you we'll get through it really quick. Okay. So in the home care Kickstarter program, for 9 weeks, we go through just about all of the fundamentals that you need for, thank you so much for the gift. All of the fundamentals that you need for getting started. This is why it's called a Kickstarter. And I'm gonna call out some of the things that we cover in the program. If you have a question, feel free to put that question. So we kind of start out with understanding what your home care services are. a lot of times people, when they start working with me in the Home Care Kickstarter mentorship program, hey, how are you, body lady? um, when they start working with me in the Home Care Kickstarter program, they have their services in mind, but they're very limited. So typically, a person will say, yeah, I want to do skilled or medical care, or they want to do non skilled personal care. And so, those are just the categories of services that you will be offering. All right. So, skilled care or medical home care is one category, and non skilled, non medical personal care is another category. You guys got that? So within those categories, then you have your services. Now, on your licensing application, we tend to call it scope of services. So I'm gonna type that word in the comments. Scope of services. If you're following me, then you will also pick up what I'm putting in. Scope of services. Now, your scope of services is not only your service category, it's not only your service type, because we have service category, service type, and service description. Are you guys following me? We have service category, service type, and service description. Let me try to put that down. Service category, service type, and service description. Two platforms. Description. Okay, great. Okay, so most people, when they get started, they only have an idea of those two things, their service category and then maybe their service type. And so during the Home Care Kickstarter program, one of the things that we explore are your within your service types, what kind of niche services can you offer? And what kind of specialty services can you offer? Did you know that you can offer specialty services in your home care business underneath either one, either service category, skilled or non-skilled? And so that's one of our very, very, very first lessons that we do live with our mentees in the Home Care Kickstarter. We teach you how to stand out in the marketplace with your specialty service, your niche services, and then, of course, your service descriptions. Now, your service descriptions also carry over to marketing your business. But if you don't understand all of the things that you can do underneath a service type, that it will limit you when you are trying to sell your service to a prospective client. Okay, so that could be lesson number one. Off the top, we start out with something like this. Next, in the Home Care Kickstarter, the black sheep, like overnights or errands. Yeah, so overnights, thank you so much for commenting. Overnights and errands um, fall into the service description, but you can have overnight as a service type as well. I'm gonna give you an example, and thank you so much for. Like, I have a mentee in Georgia, and she does postpartum care, right? But her postpartum care is technically the service type, and then when she adds the overnight care, that is both the type and the description. Hopefully I'm not confusing you too much, right? So in the Home Care Kickstarter program, we teach you how to do that. We teach you how to have niche and specialty services. That is essentially lesson number one. Then in the Home Care Kickstarter program, we start working on your business plan. Now, your business plan is not the traditional business plan that you're used to, that gets you frustrated because it's so technical, it's so long, you don't understand how to do it, or thanks so much for liking the live, or what it includes. Your business plan in the Home Care Kickstarter program is your plan of action that actually helps you with taking the first lesson in the Home Care Kickstarter program and how it's going to make sense with the people that you want to serve. So the people you want to serve, who would fall underneath those service types? So then you take that business plan, give it a description, put your additional market research with that service plan, with that business plan. And then from the business plan that we help you with in the Home Care Kickstarter program, guess what? Then now you actually have a marketing strategy. So by the end of the Home Care Kickstarter program, you're going to have a 12-month marketing strategy. Now, everybody always asks me, well, Shawn, does your program include marketing? Not only will it include marketing, but it's going to include a marketing strategy. So you see how I'm following along? I'm going to follow all the while we're doing this. That could be lesson 1, 2, and 3. All the while we're getting you ready to submit your application. We're getting you ready to submit your application. So then we start going over pricing and what will make you profitable. Pricing and what will make you profitable. If you're following along, still type that in the chat. Pricing and what will make you profitable. Do you know that most people who do things on their own get started on their own? And you can, always tell people you can start your home care business on your own. It might take you longer, but you can definitely do it. But most people who maybe work with a consultant or coach that really does more paperwork than they do mentorship, I would say 95% of the time, by the time this person contacts me, they do not know how much to charge for their services. They don't know how much to charge for their services. They always ask me, well, how much should I charge? And they have no clue of how much to charge for their services. And then they always try to ask me, well, how much does Medicaid pay? And if you base your rates off of Medicaid, then you're going to always lowball because Medicaid has the very low reimbursement rates, right? So we go over pricing structures, which help us to identify early on what will be your profit margin. What will be your profit margin? Next, we go over compliance and regulatory training. Now, You might think, well, I already know how to do that, right? This is the thing, guys, that help you with those future unannounced surveys. We teach compliance based upon what a surveyor will be looking for if they were to randomly come to your office, whether you have a home office or commercial office, and ask you for your client list and then randomly open up one of your client files. Well, what if they do that to one of your personnel files? What are they looking for? Because what they look for initially is different from what they look for as you are now 2 years old or 3 years old in your business. If already licensed, do you have a program to help grow the company? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Next, we go over your client care section. So your client care section has so many different factors, from how are you going to even get your client? So that kind of goes along with your marketing, doing the initial assessment. Okay, so if you guys have heard me talk about my upcoming mini conference or intensive on my home care startup to stack up conference in October, one of the main things I'm trying to have, not trying to have, I actually have a nurse that's going to teach non-skilled and skilled agency owners on how to do proper initial assessments. We're going to have like a little mini lab. Why are you doing that, Sean? Because with the changes from OBB, whether they happen this year or next year, initial assessments are going to be really, really essential to if you're going to be able to get the most reimbursement from your client. If you are a Medicaid heavy agency, you don't know that for Medicare agencies, this is how they get paid. If they don't do a good initial assessment, then it can essentially lower the amount of money that they will receive from reimbursement. So we're going to bring your initial assessment game up. And even if you're not a healthcare professional like me, you know how to manage a nurse that you hire per diem or on contract, how to get you the best results for the initial assessment. Then we go into how are you going to convert client calls? People are just checking around and see, about your agency into client admissions. That goes back to our marketing, which leads into you doing a really good assessment and having scripts, having phone scripts, in-person scripts, things that you feel comfortable saying when you're in front of the client. Because a lot of you are very friendly, you're very nice, you know how to talk to people, you're A+ when it comes to care, and you're an F when it comes to getting that client to say, yes, I want to choose your agency. Okay, then also in the client care section of the Home Care Kickstarter program is how to deal with difficult clients, how to deal with if you ever got a client complaint. Then what's your resolution for fixing that? Then finally we cover your monitoring and your supervision. Your monitoring and supervision really go into your quality assurance and why that is important for you for your business as you start and as you grow. This one section I just shared about 3 systems that if you want to scale, which we also cover in the Kickstarter and in my upcoming conference, you got to have these systems down packed if you want to scale. Scaling is when you're doing things at ease because you have functional systems that work and they produce the same kind of results each and every time you do them. Then we go over to the HR and staffing systems in the Home Care Kickstarter program. What's your recruitment process? We teach you how to develop one. What's your interview and hiring process? We teach you how to develop one. What's your onboarding and orientation process? We teach you how to develop one. What should be in your personnel charts? What is the state looking for when they review your personnel chart? That's what we're going over in the Home Care Kickstarter program. Again, if you're just joining, I've been asked this question so much lately that I'm just getting on here. Hey, hello, new here. I'm just getting on here and sharing with you what the program includes. So for those of you who are just joining for the first time, hey, my name is Sean. I AKA the Savvy Business Chick. In 2006, almost 20 years ago, I started a home care agency with a pediatric niche. So you guys remember we first started talking about that. One of the first things I share in the Home Care Kickstarter program is, should I have a niche? How do I have a niche? Or should I just go with a specialty service, right? What kind of specialty services are available? Which kind of specialty services would be good in my area? Because you might want to do one kind of specialty service, but another one could be more profitable. Sometimes people say, oh, I want to do peds. And I have to evaluate if they're really ready to do like a pediatric home care, home health care agency. And it may not be a good area for that. There are some areas that are better where you're going to have more clientele, right? So with that being said, I started almost 20 years ago. And within a 2-year period, I grew. Notice I'm going to say grow, not scale, to 2.3 million in revenue with 13 clients. My first clients were private pay, 24-hour, 8-hour, and then while I was waiting for my Medicaid application to get approved, I got an insurance client. So I'm glad about that. But this is not to talk only about me. I want to talk to you about what is in the program. So we went over what's in the HR section, and feel free to ask questions if you're just getting started. Billing, payroll, and financial operations. Boy, did I mess up here, because initially I was so heavy-handed in operations that I left my financial portion of my operations to an accountant. I left it to an accountant. I left it to a bookkeeper. So what things does the CEO, the president, and the administrator need to learn his or herself when operating their business? We go over what you need to know about the financial part of operating your business, because most of you only ask me about payroll. I can be honest with you. I get the most questions about payroll. What payroll company should I use? What payroll company should I use? And that's it. I never get asked, how should I build a client? What's the, what will help me? I do get asked some questions if there are any grants or anything available, but I don't get any real questions that are asked about the financial health of your home care business. And that is really important, especially if you have a green thumb in business, and some of you do. Some of you have a green thumb in business, which means you get rapid growth. I have a mentee that recently shared with me last month, or the beginning of this month, July, that within 3 3 months, 1, 2, 3, she's up to 27 clients. Some people have a green thumb in business, right? But if you have a green thumb in business and then you don't do the things that you need to do in your back office, guess what? You pay for it later. You pay higher in taxes. You pay higher in fees that you didn't have to pay. You miss opportunities to get insurance or switch over your insurance because the one you have is charging you too much. Just little things like that, right? So, and then finally, we end with marketing, and more marketing. Yes, marketing is something I'm really, really good at because the other part of my story I like to tell you guys is that my first job, thank you so much for the likes. My first job outside of college is that I worked with stockbrokers. So that was my first experience where I kind of got like that whole Mr. Miyagi thing. That was my first experience of learning how to market and talk to affluent clients, people who had large sums of money. And so when I start the Home Care Kickstarter program, I'm teaching you from the start how to position your home care agency so that it will look like the type of company that affluent people and people who are low income would want to help them out. So you have to have a good mixture of both. And definitely in this current environment, I'm stressing, don't be Medicaid heavy. Don't be a Medicaid heavy home care agency. We're going to be about diversity. And every home care Kickstarter program, we have the same structure, right? Which is these modules. We have the same structure because we go for 9 to 10 weeks. We have the same structure. Sometimes we get stuck on a topic, guys. I remember I was doing a refresher training with ACHC, their accreditation company, on compliance, and I was sharing with the mentees. I think this was last fall's Home Care Kickstarter on some compliance things that just kind of came out, and they kept asking me, Sean, can you do one more on compliance? We want to be ready for unannounced surveys. And I did that. Another Home Care Kickstarter program was asking me a lot of questions about how to do this, their scheduling. They wanted to know how to schedule multiple shifts, 8-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, shifts that go into each other, whatever it may be. We went over things like that. This year, for this last one, I do believe I am going to cover a special segment on senior concierge and nurse concierge services, right? Why? Because this is a current trend. And I believe that because of the OBB, it can definitely help a lot of personal care agencies, aka non-skilled agencies, and skilled agencies with, remember, we're talking about specialty services. You need a specialty service. And that's one I'm going to show you the best way to do it. But how about some people know how to do it, but a lot of people don't know how to promote it. So they would just like get started, but really not know how to promote it where it would blow up. And I mean blow up where you get hundreds of clients within a short period of time. So because I get asked about that a lot, the only last two things is that the Kickstarter program is a 6-month small group mentorship program. 6 months. Within that 6 months, 3 of the months is where we're doing live one-on-one sessions. Thank you so much for liking the live one-on-one sessions. Hey, how are you? Sorry, live one-on-one group sessions every Monday night. Every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now I want to take some questions, and always get this part tricky. Let me see if I can. Oh, I want to take some questions now. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, so I want to take a couple of questions to see if you have any questions about the Home Care Kickstarter Program, number 1, or getting started, number 2. I want to take a couple of questions over the next couple of minutes, and you can, if you want me to bring you up and you're on TikTok, you have to leave me a comment so I can see and see it. Okay, I think somebody just asked. Uh-oh. Did I miss something? Okay. If you want to come up, you say invite and click on it. Okay, in the meantime, I have a question over here on the question up here on YouTube. Why do people choose Portland for home care business rather than doing it in different states? I don't understand. Why would they want to do it in different states? Why do people choose Portland for home care business rather than doing it in different states and cities? I've never heard of that. That's new for me. I mean, but if you're in Portland, why wouldn't you want to do it in Portland? Maybe I'm missing something. On TikTok, hey Sadie, I'm finishing up my RN by December. Should I wait till after then to begin? No. That's my first answer. 2, where are you located? And 3, why would you wait? Okay, really, really good question. So I want to thank you for asking that question. So if you are a new RN, and let's say you want to start a skilled home care agency, and you say, well, I'm going to wait till after I get finished so that I can run my home care agency, right? You don't have to be a registered nurse. You don't have to be a healthcare professional. You don't have to be an doctor to start a home care business, not even skilled, right? If you think that waiting to your license will help you, it won't, especially if you do a skilled agency. Why? Because when you do a skilled agency, especially depending on which state you're in, they're going to look at your experience, not your degree, not your license. If they see that you are a new RN, then that actually works against you, because with you being a new RN, you don't have the ability, you've never supervised another nurse before. Again, this is all depending on if you just happen to want to do a skilled agency. You never supervised another nurse before. You don't have enough experience to work independently. And so there's a lot of states that will look at your profile and say you're going to have to still, which is what most of the people are trying to avoid, hiring another RN to do the job. So most RNs that are waiting for the to be an RN before they start is because they don't want to have to hire another RN. They want to be that RN. But I'm telling you, it doesn't work like that if you're doing skilled, because you still would have to, you don't have enough experience to be the RN on record. According to the state, you need more experience. Now, if you're doing non-skilled, you still don't have to wait. You still don't have to wait. But if you're waiting because you don't want to be distracted anymore by school and tasks and stuff like that, that's fine. But please don't wait because you want to be the RN that goes out and does the assessments and all the other stuff because the state says, no, you're not qualified to do so. Hi, Zah. You follow my works and I'm so helpful. What would a Kickstart include? Okay, I can go back over it in a second, but I just shared. So one moment. Okay, so you're in Virginia. Yes, they do require an RN on the application. I was just seeing that. So your question is, should you wait? And I'm saying you don't have to wait. Do you know another RN that can go on your application? Do you know an RN that can go on your application? Because it can take up to 6 months for your application to be approved. Do you want to wait that long to submit your application? You're surely allowed to. You're surely allowed to. You can wait that long. Okay, making sure I answer questions. Okay. So we were just sharing that the Home Care Kickstarter includes helping you with your specialty services. If you want to have niche services, specialty services, your overall services, business planning, marketing plan or marketing campaign, pricing, and your profitability, compliance, and regulatory training. I'm just going through the categories right now. HR and staffing systems, client care and admissions modules, scheduling and your workflow with the scheduling department, billing, I said billing and financial operations, marketing, and with marketing. Yes, I do skilled as well, specifically Illinois, Maryland, Virginia, Oregon, Georgia. I started off as a skilled home care agency, or RSA, was my first agency. It's in Maryland, and then management for other home care agencies. And so I am very familiar with skilled. Oh yeah, I do. I've done it for Texas, even for home health, even for the hospice side for Texas. What I don't do is Medicare certified agencies. What I do is I outsource Medicare certified agents, that's a home health agency. That is a true HHA. And we're having someone come to the Home Care Startup to Stack Up conference who is going to help you if you are interested in the Medicare life. If you want to be a Medicare certified agency, or you want to upgrade your home care agency to that type, we're going to have someone to help you to do that. How do you become a VA provider? Becoming a VA provider is not difficult. You apply to be a provider using the provider portal, and then you'll see if they have a waiting list in some areas. They send you their credentialing requirements. You fulfill those credentialing requirements. You get a contract, and then you start getting referrals. Wisconsin, I don't have an updated skill doing skilled in Wisconsin. So right now I would say no. I've already answered Texas. Just make sure you saw my answer. Okay. Making sure I answer questions are coming up small. One, they're coming up small in here. Change my settings. I'm always playing around with this thing. I was trying to change the way my camera is right now. Hello. I can hear you.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You had a question?
I'm sorry, I want to put this. Yes, I want to put this TP on you. So I do have a question. You said that you.
I don't know what happened. Are you still there? Hello?
Yes, I'm sorry, it turned off. You said that you don't do the Medicare side of home care. Are your clients mainly private pay, or is it like funded in a different kind of way?
Mm-hmm. Yes. First, what state are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. So my mentees are private pay, Medicaid, VA, Medicare Advantage, supplemental insurance, and I don't want to even go through the other kinds of payments because that's in my book, how you can get paid multiple ways in your home care business. And if it's your first time joining me live, thank you. But I've always explained how for my home health care agency, I would have clients who had multiple payers. I've had private pay clients that also had Medicaid. I have had private pay clients that also had VA benefits. So I was getting paid by multiple payers. So the goal is to have diversity, of course, so that you're not just pulling from one pile.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Medicare and the Medicaid clients, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then so with your Kickstart, the guy will be there so that anyone who wants to get accredited for Medicare, so
Yeah,
he could help them.
Yeah, it's a female. She's a she's a DMP, which is like the highest level for like the nurse practitioners. And so she's gonna walk you. So one of the reasons why I don't do the Medicare certification is a very lengthy process, right? And if you're going to go the Medicare certified rate path, then Medicare has its own requirements. So you're in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania has its license requirements. And then on top of that, then Medicare has its requirements. And its requirements includes the financial solvency. So if you ever heard Oh my gosh, it takes it's they said it costs $100,000 to start a home care agency. That's on the Medicare side.
Okay.
Because Medicare wants you to have financial solvency. So I'm just throwing out a vocabulary word to you guys. Financial solvency means you have to show in your bank anywhere from 75,000 to 150,000 of money that you don't touch until you're finished with the Medicare certification.
Okay, so it's basically like collateral, like they want you to already have funds available.
Exactly. They want
that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Because when you use the internet to search up how to get started, those are the numbers. The numbers are like 100,000, 300,000, but they don't go into detail about like exactly what you need.
Yeah.
So,
and that's because that's talking about a Medicare Medicare certified agency. So you're in Pennsylvania. If you were to start a home care agency, and let's say you did everything by yourself, typically it would just cost you $100. Well, let me not say $100. You can do, if you did everything by yourself, you can get started in less than $1,000. Hold on, are you okay? I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zoom. Sorry, guys, my husband's calling me. I'm on Zoom. I'll see you when you get home. Bye.
Yeah, that's okay.
I had to call. He called me during the live, and I had to make sure he was okay. I was like, okay, he could have got stopped by the police or something. So I was like, wait a minute, let me call him. But
make sure.
Yeah, make sure.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. So but yeah, like
you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so when you go do, like you said, your Google search and that number comes up everybody, and that was a really good question. They're talking about a Medicare certified agency, and it's only some states that require that that you be Medicare certified for skilled. Florida is one of them. California is another one of them. If you're doing skilled, but not for non-skilled.
Yeah, I just want to do non-skilled so far. I think the only thing that's besides like the $100 for the actual like submission of the application, I haven't even spent. I only spent like $125 on just like the LLC and stuff. But
that's why I was like, if you were to randomly do it on your own, I mean, you could spend less than $1,000, like you said. I
think I've been just trying to find, like, I've been going through groups and stuff, trying to find, like, because they'll send you your license, right, without having insurance or anything. You can submit it, and as long as they approve your policies here, they will approve your policies, and they'll give you a license. But to actually operate, you need to have, like, everything in order and have your insurance and everything together, which is kind of like the part that has me in a chokehold right now.
Well, technically, you can start without insurance if you only did private pay. It's when you're in Pennsylvania, it's when you start wanting to apply for Medicaid and the MCOs. Do they ask for your insurance?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's technically incorrect. So so if you were to get licensed on your own, with your own blood, sweat, and tears, right? And then you go out and you ran into someone, they said, oh, I could use some help. I can pay you out of my Social Security. I can pay you out of my 401k. You technically don't need to have insurance. Is it good? Absolutely, it's good for you to have insurance, but it's not required at that level. It's not required
so
in
even
your
for
state.
Employees, like once you hire someone, like you don't need it.
Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, you can use an employee as a 1099.
Okay.
So technically, you would not need it. I don't advise it. I don't advise using 1099s. I started off with 1099s, right? And it definitely has its disadvantages, and especially now as they are have so many home care agencies on the radar. I've shown so many times how there's like news reports of agencies having to pay back millions of dollars in back taxes, overtime, because they have 1099s. So it's not kind of worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, to give you clarity, and I'm a see some couple of other questions. Yeah, that's a good question you asked for everybody. Medicare certified, you have to have financial solvency, you have to be accredited, and all of these things are outside costs. So it's nothing you can control, because there are only like 4 accrediting companies, and they charge their own amounts for accrediting. And then in addition to like the Pennsylvania policies, and it's picking on Pennsylvania, you got to have Medicare policies. And then you got to have Medicare policies, and you got to have financial documentation that is signed off by CPA.
Oh, so that is a lot. That's like more lengthy.
That's more lengthy.
Yeah.
But some people want to really bill Medicare, and but guess what? There are people who are 8-figure owners that never touched Medicare. Never.
Yeah. I think most people like here, I'm not going to say most people because, of course, I don't know everyone, but with some of the companies that I'm familiar with here, they just do Medicaid. I myself currently am employed through a private paid company, which they don't accept any form of like insurance or anything. They're collaborated with, I guess it's 2 businesses then, because they're collaborated with like actual skilled nursing. So it's like one side is skilled and then one side is just like, personal care, home care in your house.
Mm-hmm.
But their pay rate is different than the people who accept the Medicaid, because the Medicaid people, they may pay like $15, whereas we get paid $20 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But like I worked for another company like a few years ago where we only get paid $13.50, and then as time went on, they gave us $15, but they said like they couldn't go over that.
Mm-hmm.
Because their their main income, I guess, is Medicaid. So it's good to know like all the differences. And you just told me more. Not told me in detail, but you just listed more specific forms of payment that I've never even heard of before.
Yes.
I think that so in the Kickstart, how I wasn't on here when I just got on TikTok, but in the Kickstart, how like what's the duration of the program?
Sure. I'm going to take you down so I can answer your question, but then take the next one. Okay. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much. So, the Kickstarter, and I'm going to go back over it, but the Kickstarter program, guys, it goes, we're 3 months live in a live session where it's me, you, your co-home care CEOs in Zoom. So we're live together, and unlike the restrictions of YouTube and TikTok, we can talk, right? Because it's very, very interactive. And give me 1 second on TikTok, because I need to address a couple of questions I have here on YouTube, and then I'm gonna get ready for the next person who wants to come up. Am in Maryland awaiting my license. I need help with marketing and mentorship. Really good point. All right. So because of the Home Care Kickstarter, no matter what state you're in, when you are in that licensing waiting period, you have things to do. We definitely help you with what should I be doing right now while I'm waiting for my license to get approved? And Marie, I'm not sure when you submitted your application, but you're on point. You do need to start working on your marketing. You can, we do have people who join the Home Care Kickstarter, even though they're licensed, right? Why? Because I've had people who work with a coach or someone earlier today, my first call was a lady from Virginia. She just finished her survey, because Virginia, they still do initial surveys when they come to your office. She has a home office. And she said, I hired a mentor, but pretty much all they did was fill out the paperwork. Well, I get a lot of calls like that from people that said they work with a coach, a consultant, or a mentor. And what I tell them is that you're technically not prepared to run your business, because when we went over everything that we talk about in the Kickstarter, can you honestly say you know what to do when you get that first call? Or do you know how to get your go out and market your business? You don't. So if you want mentorship, I suggest you can definitely jump on a call with me. And I do free calls on Thursdays. And that's why I had like 15 calls today where I was talking to people from Virginia, from Pennsylvania. I spoke with a guy today in Pennsylvania. He actually sold his company and kind of regrets it, because guess what? Guess how many consumers he had. They call them consumers in Pennsylvania. 600. Can you believe that? 600. I was just talking to you guys on yesterday how when people say, can you make good money in the home care business? Remember, we don't have a cap. He's not the first that has high numbers. I have another mentee that has 430 clients. So we don't have a cap, right? So if you want mentorship, I might tell you to join the Home Care Kickstarter first, just so you can have the foundation. But I don't mind talking to you, Marie, first. If you want to click the link in my bio or go to my website and talk to me about mentorship, so I can make sure that we're placing you in the correct program. And then really quick, let me just get to Ingrid's question. Ingrid says, as a starter home care agency, where we'll need to wait a maximum 3 months for the state to pay the first payment. Okay, I'm gonna read this slowly. As a starter home care agency, where we'll need to wait maximum 3 months to wait for the state to pay the first payment to the home care. Let's say the home care has 4 to 5 clients. How much more or less do the home care need to have in their business account to pay caregivers and PA? Just looking for a second opinion. Ingrid, I got asked that same question earlier today. Someone got on my calendar earlier today and asked the same exact question. And when you say need to wait three months, here is my opinion about what's going on. For the home care agencies that are saying they need to wait 3 months for the state to pay the home care agency, part of that is not true. A lot of home care agencies are not doing their billing immediately. They wait too long to do their billing, and then when they do their billing, they don't have a really good understanding of their billing. So because they don't have a good understanding of their billing, then they get their claim sent back to them, and their claim is, one moment, I'll be with you in just a second. Their claim, they get their claim sent back to them, and then that's why they have a delay. so many home care agencies in PA have just told me, you know what, I had to start billing every 3 days just so I can get paid more frequently. So it's I can answer your question. I can say, you know, if you got 4 to 5 clients, um, a safe cushion could be like 15,000 for payroll. But honestly, that's just a really that's just a guess, because with 4 to 5 clients, I don't know how much how many hours they have. So maybe you might need more like 25,000, you know, for your payroll. But it definitely has something to do with how they're billing, and if they're billing frequently. You gotta submit those claims so you can know if you're doing it right. If that makes any sense. Uh, I'm trying to turn your mic. Okay. I don't know what happened, so I think maybe you gotta come back. Okay, I got another question. Is it best to outsource payroll to make sure the business is on point with their taxes? A lot of you are so afraid of payroll, and if you get the companies like the ADP, I'm just going to choose ADP. Um, they're just taking the information that you plug in. So if you have 10 employees and you plug in, because I'm just use your name, Ingrid Brown, you know, this many deductions. All ADP is doing is following instructions. They might as well be Chat GPT. They plug it in, you sent them their time. You sent them their pay rate. You sent them their deductions. They just taking that information, and then you, as a home care business owner, have to set up these accounts, right? So uh, your unemployment account, like your unemployment account, uh, whatever these separate. So I'm getting emails. These separate accounts, all they do is send them off. When they do your process, your payroll, you had to get the account set up in your business name, and they just send them off. They're just doing the calculations. So should you outsource it? Yeah, but you have to initially do the work. So you're not avoiding doing the initial setup work, if that makes any sense. Okay, let me get to a question here on TikTok, because I spent a long time on Zay. Zan. Zaya. Okay. Make sure. So I answered the question about how to become a VA provider. Do we pay for someone to help us get credentialed, or is it something we can do to enroll with insurance? Or oral beauty, what insurance are you trying to get enrolled with? Do you help with this? Oh, like the VA? The VA is very easy. I actually have a blog on getting enrolled with the VA. I would advise you to check it out first. I prefer that the ones that are a little bit easier, that I show you how to do it, than to do it for you. Again, another thing that came up during my calls today, there are two companies. One charges $3,500 per application for credentialing, and another one charges about $12.99. So should you outsource it? You should outsource and pay somebody if you've done it one time and you still can't get it. Yes, pay somebody. Pay somebody to do it for you, right? Okay, good question. Ingrid asks, would the state send the explanation of their billing, or they'll wait until home care sends the bill to send back their corrections? Okay, so in short, and that was a really good question, the state doesn't necessarily send an explanation of their billing process. But what happens is that after you've gone through credentialing as a Medicaid provider, as a VA provider, for your insurance, right? You need to get the provider manual. The provider manual is your key. It's like you flip through it, you go down to the table of contents. Okay, what do I need to do if I have a new client? Like, you need to get the provider manual. Only some states give training to new providers. I can tell you that a lot of the insurance companies will try to force your hand to get a biller. When I got a Blue Cross Blue Shield client, they didn't give me any training. They didn't give me any training. And if you guys know my story about that, I got a client, and this was back in 2007, 2008. And I had a client back in 2007, 2008 that I was billing $40 to $45 an hour for an LPN and $50 to $55 an hour for RN. That's back in 2007. I was making good money. And then because I was making good money, I didn't want to mess it up. So I paid my nurses really well. So I paid my nurses really well to work that case. And it was 18 hours a day. So cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. But guess what? I had a problem. I couldn't get paid. I submitted my claim. It came back. All it said was incorrect code. Incorrect code. I'm calling. I can't get nobody on the phone. I get somebody on the phone and they ask me, do you have a billing company? No. Okay. Well, we only deal with billing companies at this department. But I literally had to go to prayer to get the answer. I don't mind telling you. And guess what? I got the code. What they didn't tell me is that the code I was using, so they do not explain a thing, right? And this is why I want you guys to learn from the very beginning that people are not going to tell you the information that you need. No matter how nice you ask them, it's no matter how hard, no matter how much you need the information to be successful. Remember, this is the most tight-lipped home care, not home care industry ever. It's just full of gatekeepers. It's full of, right? And so finally, I just prayed about it. And then God was like, call it this time of the day. It was like so early. I think it was like 8 a.m. or something like that. And then the lady gave me the code I was supposed to use. And after that, I submitted a bill and it got paid. But do you guys know, it was like I hadn't got paid for 3 months by the time I figured that out. Hey, thanks for joining in. You have a question?
Hi, how are you? I'm so grateful you added me to your live. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I was trying to hurt the screen and accidentally clicked in on you, but it must be Holy Spirit because everything you're saying is so accurate about what you just said about prayer and how you got the answer in prayer. I get asked all the time about how did I learn how to build and who helped me, and no one helped me. And I always say Holy Spirit because when I build and submit those claims, I don't miss. Like I don't get denials, but nobody taught me like literally Holy Spirit. So that's good information what you said. Thank you for your live. Thank you for the information.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining to confirm that. Yeah, I just had to share. I mean, it was really no other way that I got that code because I was trying everything. And sometimes you are trying everything and then you still are not getting the answer. And so I want people to know that it's not you. You just got to push through and don't expect it to always be easy, guys. Don't expect it to be always easy. But great question, Ingrid. To make sure. Piggybacking on the outsourcing payroll, so they won't do the they'll do the W-2s for the employees, but just know that it's information that you're giving them. Like, think about it, Ingrid. How are they getting this information? They're getting the information because you had to submit their time, whether it's from your home care software, it's from an EVV that you're using from the Medicaid portal. You had to give them that information. So I'm not saying don't you outsource payroll. I'm just saying you they're not they're taking your information and then they're processing it. Okay. They're taking your information and they're processing it. And you're not asking too many questions. You're asking good questions. So don't worry about it because the questions you're asking over here in YouTube, I'm talking to my CEOs on everywhere. And even somebody on watching the replays will be like, wow, I didn't even think about that. I had that same question. But I had to turn the light off because my daughter she came down to my office and I want her to go back to sleep. Okay, let me look and see. I didn't know Medicare will pay for home care. No, and that's a good question. Medicare does not. The traditional Medicare is Part A and Part B. Traditionally, Medicare does not pay for home care. Medicare is skilled. So what happens is that if a home health agency is Medicare certified, it's only doing skilled services, meaning they got out of the hospital, they got out of rehab, and then they have skilled nursing visits from an RN only. And this is why I shared what you should be doing is getting familiar with Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage will allow a non-medical home care agency to provide services to Medicare recipients. Okay. Okay. I'm a new home care agency in California. I need help becoming a VA provider. Okay. You're non-skilled. Hello, are you there? Okay. Let me see if I can pull up this. I'm gonna put the. I'm gonna put it. Let me get the link to this. This thing that I wrote for becoming a VA provider. I put on my Google Docs because I have a quick link I can go to for my resources. For those of you who are on LinkedIn, I have a lot of resources that I put on my LinkedIn page, right? And so some of those resources are things like, how do I get an MPI number? Another resource I have is basically breaking down the how to become a VA provider. Now, if you're in California, you're considered Tri-West. So they have different parts of the VA program. And if you're in the West Coast, it's called Tri-West. If you're like Midwest or over here in the East Coast, I think it's called Optimum something. So you have to essentially contact them, filling out an initial form that, okay, I think I just found it, how to become a VA provider. I'm going to put the link first for those of you who are on YouTube. We'll put that link in the comments. It's hard to do links on TikTok, but I'm going to put the link in my bio. And it looks like this. Looks like this, right? And you can just read through that. How you get registered, right? What kind of clients you would be able to take care of. That's the top areas where home care can serve. These are the top states. Actually, let me flip it over. I'm sorry, I forgot to show you. The top states. The top states with high veteran populations: California, Texas, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Ohio, and Arizona are the top 10 areas where you have the highest VA population. It's all in the article. Okay, so you can go there and you can go check that out. Put the link in my bio and check out my resources. Or after this, you can go on over to my my YouTube where I'm streaming right now and also get the link. Let me make sure. When did you send an email, Marie? You don't see the Kickstarter link. Oh, good point. You don't see the Kickstarter link. All right, and now let me show you what that looks like. The Kickstarter. So if you guys are familiar with stuff like Shopify, right? Familiar with stuff like Shopify. My Home Care Kickstarter program is not on my website. That's I'm glad you. So my My graphic person husband passed away at the beginning of the year, and she's just not been able to do too much with maintaining my website. But because I'm resourceful, we used a platform called like Sandpark, which helps us to give you all of the modules and everything. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Let me show you the page. And if you click the link in my bio, you actually have for some reason it says test field on the side. I'm going to switch this out just so I can show you more. Okay. And let me share with you here as well. Okay. And then I'm going to let you see it, how it looks when you're in the portal. Okay. Okay, so this is the final Kickstarter of the year. It's our fall Kickstarter, right? And you start your business with, of course, mentorship. We it's not just a course, guys, because we, as I mentioned, with what we go over in the program, you are really guided to launch your business, and you have all the fundamentals for launching your business. We work with a firm in Clarendon, so you can do financing. This is the price for our non-skilled. We have a special going on until Monday, but I will, because I don't want to put it because I don't want to put it on the live. You have to email me to get the code, and guess what? It's going to knock off a significant amount, about $1,000 off of this price. Okay, right? It includes the state-approved policies and procedures, small group mentorship, right? This is our weekly classes. You have 40 hours of on-demand training. You have your knowing how to do your marketing, how to go out and go to communities. You should enroll if you're a nurse, if you're a caregiver, healthcare professional, you're ready to become a business owner. You should enroll if you are a corporate professional and you want to transition into entrepreneurship. You should enroll if you are a stay-at-home mom or you're changing your career and you have a heart for caregiving. And anyone who wants to build a business with purpose, right? And so we have if you enroll before the 21 days expires, then you'll be able to get a in-house payment plan too. Okay. So let me switch over. All right, now let me show you what what the program looks like when you're inside of portal. And this was the one we just ended in the spring. This is the one we just ended in the spring. All right. And from here, I'm able to see how much you have completed for every session. You get your Zoom links for all of the Zoom sessions, the class schedule, right? Oh, I forgot to mention you get 2 one-on-one sessions with me, so that's the link to do that. With the replay, we're constantly working on mindset, so because we're shifting you from an employee mindset to employer, right? How to do an investor deck, that's a part of our business planning. This is a hedgehog concept, right? This helps you with standing out in the marketplace, understanding the gaps in the marketplace, your business planning vocabulary, how to do forecasting. That's going to help you with your 1 year budget that a lot of states require, right? Then we have our week 3, a week 4, a week 5, a week 6. Remember how I was talking about how we go over client care sections, you got client admissions, you get a client handbook and forms of consents. We go over another one on onboarding, handling client complaints, and your client delivery process. All right. We start going into a little bit of marketing, as this is something you could be doing while you're waiting on your license. We got social media training, ads, marketing on LinkedIn, Instagram, then getting you to do a posting schedule, your next replay, marketing to caregivers, your hiring process. This is all of your HR. Okay, and I thought I'm missing something. Oh, it's not showing me the entire course. Let's stop sharing. It's not showing the entire course because it's a preview. Right, it's a preview. Oh, go back to that. Okay, so look, I can send this to you. Send the link. If you're interested in that promo discount, send me an email, and I'll type my email, and message me and say, I was on the live last night, or I was on the July 31st live. I was on the July 31st live. You can do that. Then you can go over to my Google Business profile and you can see all of my reviews. We have people who have posted reviews I've put on the page. But this is we're in the era of people read reviews. They want to see, what kind of people I've worked with, what kind of people I've helped. And not hear it from my mouth, but hear from other people's mouth about how I've helped them get started and grow their business. And I'm telling you, we are getting results from the DMV, as far up as Massachusetts, as far down as Florida, and as far West is California. Where we have mentees in California. In I have one in Wisconsin that did my summer school. But I think I'm gonna probably have to get off and my kids are gonna work outside. But if I've helped you tonight and I didn't answer your question, please forgive me. I'll try to take a screenshot of some of the questions, or just send me an email. And the Kickstarter link is, oh, hi Jasmine, I'm just seeing your message. Can you become Medicare certified for non-medical home care? No, you can't. You can't. You can't. A good question. I'll try to address that in this. Is VA one of those states? Sadie, I love VA so much that you can start as a non-medical, or you can start as a skilled, and then by your second or third year, you can apply to be Medicare certified if you want to go that route. Okay. Well, let me go help. I don't know why it gets. They must have to be having a little bit of unsettled trains. So let me get them in there. Thank you so much. My name is Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, and I'm here to help you, whether through my Home Care Kickstarter program, or we also have a upcoming conference that's in person. Take care, and I'll hopefully be on here tomorrow.